Om Sahna Vavatu Sahno Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may He protect us both. May we both enjoy together. May we both exert together. May our studies become brilliant. May we not become disputatious and hate each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. Sthita Prajna, we have come to the level where Krishna is talking about who is this realized person. Whether get-ups, we have all discussed that. What he's going to wear, what is he going to say. It all comes back to one's own internal attitudes of the mind, the control over one's own desires. So last class, we did Prasade Sarva Dukkhanam, Hani Rasyo Pajayate, Prasanna Chetaso Yashuhu, Buddhi Paryavatishtate. In peace, all his sorrows are destroyed. We already did this. I'm just touching it on. The intellect of the tranquil mind soon becomes very steady. As soon as he becomes peaceful, all the sorrows are destroyed. So basically, one needs complete peace of mind to evolve oneself. Simultaneously, one also needs a little bit of evolution within himself or herself to attain that peace of mind. So it's like a bicycle pedal. When my mind is calmer, I garner in more knowledge, I gather in more knowledge. With more knowledge, better evolution, my mind becomes more and more peaceful. So it's like a bicycle pedal going on. Both are important. So as soon as the mind is satiated a little, as soon as the mind is in its even form, saying that, okay, I am all right now, that is the time to instigate, to put in a little bit of knowledge. So how does this knowledge work? Little bit of knowledge is enough. In Bhaja Govindam, it is said, Bhagavad Gita kinchita dhita, Ganga Jala. You need to study Bhagavad Gita only a little. We don't want people to become pandits. Vihaya Kamanya Sarvan, Pumascharati, this way, Nirmamo, Nirahankar. We don't want people to by heart the text. It doesn't make sense. Even parrots can by heart the whole Bhagavad Gita. That doesn't make them any more evolutionary. What we need to do is dig in what we have understood from the verse and try to implement it in our life a little bit. Every day a little bit, that's all. Self-realized sages like Ramatirtha and Ramakrishna Paramhamsa and all these giants, they have achieved their state, their highest state, by doing what is required every day. Just a little, that's all, not more. Half an hour, 1 hour, maximum our Guruji says 1 hour, 15 minutes of studies and not more than that. So keep a limit and then study. So it works as if you are driving and you have a car headlight. The headlight, when you switch it on, it gives light only for perhaps 7 to 8 feet, not more than that. But with that headlight just going on for 7 to 8 feet and 10 feet and 10 feet moving ahead, you can cover thousands of kilometers on road. Similarly, your vision has to be every day are you doing to the best of your ability? Not more. Don't even get into the idea that where I have reached. I have studied so much, my evolution, don't even think about it. Your focus has to be just doing what needs to be done every day. The example of daffodils comes to the mind, where he says, I wandered lonely as a cloud, high over vales and hills, and all at once I saw a host of golden daffodils. I wandered. So you are wandering, you are moving around, wandered in the sense of an inquiring mind about what is reality or life all about. Is my life just meant, like Jonathan Livingston Seagull, contemplating, just meant to eat, squabble, fight over food tidbits here and there, and then die harassing myself? Or is my life meant for something higher? Just that inquiry. I wondered, and this inquiry has to be done when you are alone. You don't take along everybody. You cannot take along everybody. At the mental plane, everyone is alone. People may be there around you, but mentally where you are, nobody can touch. I wandered lonely. And when you are wandering lonely, as a cloud, your attitude towards everybody around you is extremely sacrificial. Why I'm saying extremely sacrificial is because when you don't want anything from the society, you are on a mode of self-sustenance. You are sustaining yourself brilliantly on your own. You don't need anybody. Rathya Charpata Virachita Kantaha, says Bhajagovindam. This person takes the rags of the society, cloth fallen on here and there, stitched it, and is wearing that. That means least dependence on the society. Such a person moves ahead. So when you move towards a state of realization, extremely sacrificial because you don't need it. Whatever world gives it to you, you take for your sustenance. The rest you don't give it. So you give it back. Give it back not because the society needs it. Give it back because you don't need it. It's as simple as that. I wandered lonely as a cloud, high over vales and hills. So when I'm wandering like that, I am high over every valley and every hills. That means the small differentiations of the society no more hurts me. You are a Brahmin or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra, or you are this or you are labor class. It doesn't matter. You are a rich person or a poor person, you are a Hindu or a Muslim. All these levels are only to people at that level, where even for an ant, a molehill looks like a mountain. So everything looks huge problems. But for a person who's elevated himself, for an eagle who's learned how to fly higher, there are no more differentiations at the ground level, high over vales and hills. So he's gone beyond likes and dislikes from what the world is catering to. And when he or she is traveling like that in the society, completely sacrificial, moving on because they are enjoying the journey itself. All at once, I saw a host of golden daffodils. Immediately, they are seeing a host of golden daffodils. Nothing else matters. It's not by design that they are meeting the host of daffodils. It is just by sheer accident. They're enjoying, and in the path it comes. So this attitude is highlighted. Enjoy the journey. Automatically, the mind will take over peacefulness, and peace, your intellect will become completely steady. This we did last time, right? Now we move on to the next verse. Nasti buddhirayuktasya न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चा भावयत शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम् नास्ति बुद्धिर्युक्तस्य. That person, there is neither knowledge nor meditation for the unsteady. Na asti, it's not what? Nasti buddhira yuktasya. There is, when the buddhi is ayukta, ayukta represents where the union of the buddhi is not there. The buddhi, the intellect is unhinged. So the idea here is, where is your buddhi attuned to? Is it attuned to something? The buddhi, the intellect, my reasoning faculty, my discriminating faculty, that which says this or that, should be hinged on some higher purpose in life. Each one, that is the reason anybody who says, what should we do? What should we do? Have a dream and live for that dream. Each one should have a purpose in life. Otherwise, without purpose, is like a rudderless boat. It will go everywhere. Have a purpose in life. Otherwise, it will be ayukta. So yukta, joined, ayukta, not joined. Not joined to what? A higher goal in life, a higher purpose, a dream. Two types of people. Majority, not minority. Majority, two types of people. One, they don't have any dream. They just don't have any dream. Why are you living like that only? Now see, we'll see whatever happens after the coronavirus, and after that we'll see what it is. It's just, and these people have this beautiful dialogue of their own. Let us be in the flow. When you are using the term be in the flow, it is completely misunderstood and misrepresented. Be in the flow means have a higher vision of life, and wherever life takes you, wherever the mind goes here and there, don't bother about it. Be in the flow towards that higher ideal in life. Here people misunderstand and they say, let the situations come, doesn't matter. We should float on the ocean waves. It hits the rocks here, it hits the rocks there, it's all right. So one group doesn't dream at all. They don't have anything to go. They just keep on moving around in the world based on current affairs and current situations. This is one group. No dream at all. Let's just live. Someday we have to die anyway. So what different does? So even when you explain to them, somebody dies of, say, obesity is one of the causes. So when you say that, listen, that person died because he was obese, so please be careful of your health. Be fit as much as possible according to what your physicality is there. Suddenly the other person who's not attuned to it, no, but that doesn't matter. I had a friend who was not obese at all, and he was going through the gym and he was working out. He didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't have any bad habits, and he was just young, around 45, 48. He just was running on the treadmill, he collapsed and died. Moral of the story, therefore, don't run in the treadmill, don't exercise, abuse the body. So this is the wrong way. So many people follow that dictate. The others, since they don't have a dream of their own, they take up to other people's dreams. That person reached a particular state, a higher state of evolution. That person looks more peaceful during any situation than other people around. What did he do? What did Maharishi do, Ramana Maharishi, to evolve yourself? Keep quiet. So I have decided not to talk to anybody. Maunam. Internally, the desires are gurgling. Ramatirtha realized himself and he walked around the world and gave speeches. Therefore, I will also do that. I'll give speeches, therefore I'll become Ramatirtha. Somebody asked Swami Ramatirtha, this Vivekananda, he speaks so beautiful Vedanta, but he has this habit of smoking. So Ram Tirtha said two things. If you can become a Vivekananda and smoke, do that. Second, when you are ever listening to the opinions and advices of wise people, don't look what goes inside him. Look what comes out of them. So the second group sees the mannerisms and say, I will do that, I will also become that. Without any passion towards a higher goal in life, you will never reach anywhere. A Michael Jackson should not sing. A Lata Mangeshkar should not dance. Simple. Tyagaraja should not play cricket. Sachin Tendulkar should not play hockey. And Dhyan Chand should not have taken or will never take football. Each person is meant for something. Each one, just as our DNA is separate, our thumbprint is separate. Similarly, each and everybody's talent and the passion towards the talent is separate. We can't copy somebody else's field and try to instill passion inside. It is not possible. We should not do it. If we do it, we may be successful. I'm not saying we may not be successful. We may be successful because of our consistency, but you will not be happy. You will not be happily successful. You may be successful, but you may not be happily successful. There was this one person who decided, he's heard this story of Majnu. I believe all of you would have heard the story of Layla and Majnu. You know, both were lovers. And Majnu loved Layla a lot. I didn't know how much Layla loved, but Majnu loved a lot. And Majnu used to go down the Registan, desert, tearing up his kurta and all and saying, Layla, Layla, literally Diwana Masjid. He literally gone mad. So one person saw that Majnu's passion toward Layla. So he said, yeah, this kind of a passion should be there in everybody. In any field with whoever you love, that kind of passion. So he struck on a beautiful idea. He took a photograph of Layla and he also went around the desert shouting, Layla, 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 and taking the phone and trying to pretend as if he's become mad over Layla. The story is, when Majnu comes to know about that, he takes the photograph of Layla from his hand and says, Ye meri Layla hai, apni Layla tu dhund. This is my Layla. You find so your Layla can be anybody. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. You don't need my Layla to cry. Similarly, whatever made me a better person need not be the same activity for you. That's the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita. You can choose what is right and good for you. So two types of people, one no dream at all, and the other copying the dream of others. So first is nasti buddhira yuktasya. The buddhi has to be attached to the higher principle. What is the higher principle? I want to gain perfection. But sir, I think there is nothing in the state called perfection. Sorry, there is no perfection. Even if you think there is no perfection, at least aiming for that sky, you will become better than what you were yesterday. At least. Considering, chalo, there is no perfection. Can my tomorrow be better than yesterday? Can my next year be better than this year? Physically, emotionally, I was hurt last year when things went wrong and I cried a lot. I don't want to say what happened, sir, but I cried a lot. Can this year be a little different, where through education and understanding of the Granthas, I can control my emotion and anger better than what it was last year, in case the same problem comes. If I had wasted my time crying for a month then, and if I'm crying only for a week, still it is better. Doesn't matter. At least have a dream. So an unsuccessful person doesn't have a dream. Nasti buddhira yukta. So it is not hinged anywhere. Since the intellect is not hinged anywhere, There is neither na chayuktasya bhavana. There is no hinging of bhavana to. Since the intellect, so what the intellect is supposed to do, we have body, mind, and intellect. Within this compartment are these two beautiful things: body, mind, and intellect. Mind is full of emotions, raw passions, good as well as bad. It is both. It's like a very beautiful child in the house. It can be an angel if brought up properly. Otherwise, it can be a devil. Either it can become wise or it will always remain otherwise. Any attitude, like a child. So, mind is exactly like to give direction to this mind's emotions, passions. The intellect is needed to guide the mind towards a higher aspect of life. So, intellect's job is twofold. One, it pitches up a higher goal in life, number one. Second, it is supposed to educate the mind about the purpose of why we are going there, and we will be much happier when we are reaching there, better than what we are now. And mind, when it is educated towards a higher goal in life, it puts all bhavana, passion. Here, the translation is given loosely as meditation. It is full passion, bhav. When the intellect is unhinged, passions are there, but it is not going anywhere. It's like milk being thrown away, it's water being thrown away. It will have all, it will run in every direction, but it will not be productive to anybody. So this bhavana, na chayuktasya bhavana. And for the unmeditative, for a person who doesn't have this intellectual clarity to reach the higher, who doesn't have the bhavana, there is no peace. How can there be peace? Intellect is not going anywhere. The mind is doesn't have a bhavana. So what's happening? Mind is having passions of everything around. Every sense contact it runs behind. It just keeps on constantly functioning on likes and dislikes. The tendencies of the mind is such. Constantly, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that, based on likes and dislikes. And the problem is, whatever I like need not be good for me. I'm saying need not be, it may be good, but need not be good for me. Whatever I don't like may be good for me. When I'm exercising, the body breaks right, left, and center. That acid buildup is there, and the whole day the body pains. But is it good for me? Your focus has to be there. Thinking about that. So there cannot be any peace, because once the mind goes everywhere, it goes to one particular place and then it sees something else and says, I like that. It throws this away, that. Every time Adi Shankaracharya gives this beautiful example. He says happiness is like a butterfly flirting over sense objects, from one sense object to another. So when it goes and sits, the butterfly goes and sits on one sense object. I feel if I get that sense object, if I get that relationship, I will be happy. And truly, you believe that. Everybody believes that. As soon as I gain that object of desire, it goes and sits on some other object. I married this person. Now I am going to be happy. As soon as that the object it moves, the butterfly moves. Now your happiness has moved from point A to point B, and this is the way it travels. Therefore, at the end of the day, every time the person has got a lot of unfulfilled desires, sir, I am happy now, but I would be happier if I get that. I'm happy now, but I would be happier if I get that person. There is no peace. There never will come a time where anybody will sit and say, I seriously don't require anything. whatever is given to me, it's well taken care of by nature. I do my hard work. Mooda jahihi dhanagama trishna. Running behind, I stopped. I'm like a mood. I keep my mood. I am a foolish person. My mind used to run behind Trishna, running behind illusions. This is what is going to make me happy. This is what is going to make me happy. Mooda jahihi dhana, dhana agama. Coming of wealth. How much wealth is going to come, not what has come, going to come. There is no end to it. Kurusat buddhim manasi vitrishna. Establish yourself in this attitude and get rid of this trishna. Then what do? Yalla base nija karmo patam. Whatever activity you're doing with love, whatever comes out of it, you enjoy. It's okay. You live a life. There's nothing wrong in living a life. But you're not hankering. At any given point of time, my present happiness is never pitched on some future acquisition and enjoyment. At any given point of time, my present happiness is never pitched on some future acquisition and enjoyment. So this is important. Then you will be peaceful. Now there is no peace because the intellect has no goal. The mind has passions, but it doesn't know where to run. So it's running everywhere. And such a person never can find peace. And a person who doesn't have this peace, how can there be happiness? Because these people, where the dreams are not hinged on something higher, they genuinely believe one factor. And what they believe is, if I get that, I will be happy, number one. And whatever is happening in the world is true and correct. The world is real in its own presence. Brahman, the supreme reality, Paramatma, all these words are unreal. One lady actually met me and said, "Sir, have you heard the quotation, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya?" I said, "Yes. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya." So you know the meaning of Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya? It means Brahman is true, correct, and Jagat, the world, is Mithya, is an illusion. I said, I've heard about it. I'm not sure, but I've heard about it. But then you know, in Sanskrit terms, words can be written anyway. So yes, I've heard that too. Then, sir, do you think these great masters would have said it the other way? That Jagat Satyam Brahma Mithya. The world is real and Brahman, the supreme reality, is unreal. It can be, na, sir, it can be. Because we should keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. But with this kind of a thought, you go into the world saying that every relationship is real, every relationship is permanent in nature. You will be hurt the most because you don't see the temporariness of anything around you. Each and every aspect has a growth, birth, disease, decay, and death. We are talking about living beings. Objects are changing. The world is changing. My desires towards that particular object is changing. What I wanted 5 years back is not what I want now. What I now need now, that this is the most important thing I need, will not be perhaps 2 years later. My desires towards objects and people are changing. And the people outside are changing. The objects, whoever thought in this world 6 months back that each and every individual will be wearing a mask? Did we ever think about it? Things happen. It changes. So an intelligent person understands whatever is happening around is temporary by nature. And in this temporariness, I am not going to seek a permanent happiness. it will be completely foolish on my part to expect permanent happiness from a temporary attitudes of people around. I am marrying that person because that person had this quality. Honesty, sir. Therefore, I got married. Now the person has become dishonest. What do you do? I wanted to get married to this person because this person is extremely fit. Now the person is not fit. What do you do? Things change. The beauty is you can also change. So an intelligent person, as the society moves, they keep on molding the scriptures, molding the nature for the betterment of everybody around. But a person who is unhinged, without a dream, no happiness, and since there is no happiness, there is no peace. That is the reason the first quality they say in the Shastras, we have done this prayer long time back. Pratasmarami Rudhi Sanspuradatma Tattvam. We used to chant this. And in that, there was this paragraph. Tapo bhi shina, do tapas. Sense controlled and put it into a higher realm of life. Control the senses from going downwards, eradicating it, dissipating your energy, and trying to move it to a higher. Tapobi, when you do that, Sheena Papa Nam, you have got rid of all the sins and agitations. Then the mind becomes Shantanam. No more agitations. The mind is not going here and there seeking why did that person do that person. And we say Guna Guneshu Vartante. Everybody is functioning according to the gunas. Let them function. If they are want to change and become better people, they will listen to something. If not, let them be. Let us agree to disagree. Shantanam, Vitaraginam. With this attitude, all the desires disappear. Raga means what I like and what I don't like functioning in the world. That attitude disappears. What is needed by me is done. Then Mumuksho Namapik, I should have this tendency of Mumukshatva. Mumukshatva is explained as a burning desire to liberate oneself. If I personally come to your residences, you are sitting in a chair or a sofa or whatever, and I tie you up properly where you're not able to move at all, neither hands, your legs, you're just sitting like this. And I say, whatever you want in life, let me know, I'll give it to you. Everything will be provided. Food will be provided, all the amenities and facilities for you to live a luxurious life will be provided to you. I'll give you a huge TV, maybe a 62-inch TV. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. Whatever ornaments you want, gold, diamond, I'll wear. You can celebrate everything except you will not get out of that chair. You will stay bound. But I'll provide you with everything. That person will immediately say, listen, I don't want anything. All I desire is freedom. Just let me go. Even if I don't get food, it's all right. I want freedom. This tendency, this rush within oneself to free oneself from all these bondages, what we talked about was the same kind of a bondage is there mentally. I am bound by A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm like a building where 100 pillars, I'm standing on 100 pillars of these relationships and objects. If I don't have this object, I get agitated. If I don't have this particular relationship, I get agitated. And like a broken down building, I'm standing on all this. If I knock anything, I will fall. Restructure yourselves. This is restructuring. Restructure yourself beautifully, and then you may have the relationship, may not have the relationship. It doesn't matter. You'll still be happy. Then internally, you'll come to a state where you can chant this. And this is a regular chant. It is not a Sanskrit chant. This is an English chant. You just chant. Okay? Every day. Not to anybody, within your own self. I am happy with you, but never for a moment think that my happiness is dependent on you. Again, I am happy with you, but never for a moment think that my happiness is dependent on you. Don't say it aloud. Within, that's it. Live with everybody, but with an attitude of complete freedom. Ram Tirtha gives this beautiful example. He says there is a tree and there is a flood of water down, and there is a boy hanging on to dear life on one particular branch of the tree. Because if he falls, he dies. He is completely dependent on that branch. And on the other branch by the side, a bird comes and sits as a shelter. It's wet, so it's just drying its wings. Both of them, the bird as well as the person, the boy, are dependent on the branch. But there is a great difference. One completely dependent on the branch, the other completely dependent on one's own wings. Anything happens to the branch, I'm still all right. This attitude is important. This, to reach this state, is mumukshatva. I want to get rid of all the agitations in my head. Number one quality of a spiritual student, I don't want to get agitated, come what may. Come what may. Whatever be the situations around, I should never get agitated. We do get agitated at some point of our life. Well, while writing, now most of you may be writing the notes. When you're writing and you lose your pen, so-called precious pen, 10 rupees, 20 rupees pen, if you lose it, how agitated you'll be. You'll just say, okay, I don't get the pen, and you go and see another pen and take it. You'll not be much agitated. Perhaps 1%. Okay, that's it. When you go down, you've gone to a shopping, when you go down in a car, you went to the mall, got out of there, and then you saw that the car is not there, it's stolen. How much you will get agitated? A little bit, few lakhs. So you'll get agitated for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe 6 months, a year perhaps, but not after that. If you are down with your family, walking, and then suddenly you see your whole house in flames, how agitated you'll be. When I said this in one of the colleges, one student said, not agitated at all, said the whole thing is insured. So I had to put this point also, it is not insured. The house and the car is not insured, and it burns the whole thing. Whatever you have put, your hard work, all your emotions and wealth for 20, 30, 40, 60 years, everything is charred beyond recognition. How much will you get affected? Will you be like Edison, where his whole warehouse was burnt, and his son-in-law said that all the patents, everything is destroyed. Now what do we do? At the age of 84, he rubs his hands and says, nature, God has given me one more opportunity to start the whole thing again. Do I act like that, or do I sit and cry? And how much to cry? If something happens to my family members and one of the member passes away, how much does it affect me? Somewhere down the line, each one of us get affected somewhere or the other. For a true Vedantin, for an intelligent person who's understood life tattvataha in its essence, the loss of a near and dear one is equal to the loss you experienced for a pencil. I am talking only of the mental agitation. Perception will be the same. They may act the same, but internally they bounce back much faster than anybody. This will only happen when you have the mumukshatva to the higher. Then whatever happens, not you don't throw it away. You can't just shrug your shoulder and say, I'm mumukshatva, I have realized myself, therefore I don't care what happens in the world. It's not that. Learn this from the movie Shawshank Redemption. I've given this example before. In Shawshank Redemption, the man is falsely accused of murdering his wife and her lover, which is not done, and is put into jail, life term. And in that life term, he does everything. He is ill-treated. I don't want to get into the details of it. He is ill-treated in the jail itself. He does everything. He creates a library in the jail so that everybody can read. He sees to it that he helps with taxation of the people who are hitting him, the jailers. And when the jailer is asking, I'm saying I have to save $25,000, it's going in taxation. So this man is a tax consultant. He says that don't worry, I will help you how to get out of the tax. If you can gift it to the wife, it's some one-time donation, something he explains. And he says, okay. He said, if this doesn't work, you'll be treated nicely, you'll be hit. He says, okay. But if it works, then I'll ask something from you. He says, all right. And it works. That one-time donation is given and the person saves a lot of money. I think so $25,000 by tax. So this jailer is asking, so what do you want? He says, a can of beer for all my friends. And the scene is they are sitting on a terrace, working something, pouring in wet tar on the floor. That's the work they are doing. These police people get a whole can of beers. He gives beer to everybody and they are sitting and nicely having. Don't quote me saying, sir said beer is good. I'm not saying anything. Huh? Don't drink. But in this movie, the scene is there. And this person is sitting like this. He's looking at everybody. So one of the prisoners takes one can of beer and says to him, Dufresne, would you have it? Why don't you have it? He says, I don't have beer. I don't have beer. And he's given it to everybody. He builds a library for everybody after writing thousands of letters for contribution in funds from the government. Please see that movie. There are a lot of bad words, but the highlight is the hero never gives one bad word. So our ideal is that. It's like Hovodro character. And you see the movie and the whole movie turns out at the end of what was his plan for all these years. And yet he tried to do good in the jail too. Similarly, our whole attitude is to be better than what it was, to realize ourselves. But until we are here, do the best. When I came here, I was crying. When I go out from here, everybody else should miss me a little bit. At least one person in some corner of the world can remember you and say, that person was okay. He was good. She was that. That's enough. Not that we need it, but that attitude is important. So you do everything and you reach the highest. Then if you do this properly, no happiness, no peace. Why is this? There is no peace and no happiness. Because the mind is carried away. And that's the next verse. How did this happen? Where there is no dream, from the dream, there is no passion to live. I have left all the motivation. There's no more any passion, sir. Why? There is no happiness. There is no pleasure. Life has become drab, dull. Why has life brought this turn into your life now? The cause of it is one's own mind. And this, we'll tackle it next class. Thank you very much. Oh.